What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're doing a dedicated showcase video for a character that came out a few months ago now, a handful of months ago, the Yamato and Otama character during the summertime celebration, and we actually ended up pulling this from like a random legend ticket. I think it was a Kizuna Clash reward or whatever it may be. Either way, I got it from like a random ticket, which is dope. This is a character that I did not own, so now that I actually do have this character, thought it would be a good opportunity to go ahead and trial this character out and see what this unit is all about. So of course this character came out alongside the Summertime Nami, which you do see in this particular clip we're using as a friend captain. These two characters work amazingly together, having one character provide you with a really good healing on stage 3, and then Yamato has a really interesting ability where she gives you a full board of recovery at the start of the fight. That's obviously a huge net positive. Full board of matching slots, you love to see it. The thing about Yamato is that in order for her captain ability to become fully activated, and when I mean fully activated, I mean the ability to remove 10 turns of special bind and 10 turns of attack down. Like, that's amazing utility to have in a captain effect. It is locked behind having to recover over 50,000 overheal on your team, which is pretty rough. But you know, Nami does circumvent some of these issues by having an effect where when you reach stage 3, you recover like 25,000 HP, which is obviously really cool. The rare recruits that debuted alongside these units all have really nice abilities that synergize well together to fully abuse those recovery slots that Yamato gives you at the start of the quest. But in a lot of normal content, this is not something that is realistic. Like, you really have to try and like stall, get your cooldowns ready to go, and like, honestly speaking, you're not realistically going to be abusing the mass amount of healing. So it is going to take you quite a lot of time to get this 50,000 overheal in order for the captain ability to become fully activated. Now, you can definitely use something like Shirahoshi and Manshiri, which can provide you with like a ton of healing immediately, and then you get this captain ability activated. I think that if you can find ways to get this captain online as fast as possible, yeah, this is going to be a pretty good unit to use as a captain because the utility is so goddamn good. The Nami, on the other side of things, is relatively similar, providing also some really great utility, but also locking it behind having some healing components, very, very similar to Yamato. But like the rest of her captain ability is very stock standard. You've got a pretty typical 5.75 times attack if you're at full HP, 5.25 times otherwise. There is a minor HP boost and matching slots, the typical stuff that you see. But then of course you have that utility locked behind healing, and then you have the changing of recovery at the start of the quest. She does also state that if you reach stage 3, she changes recovery slots into Wano, so if you have ways to lock those slots you received at the start of the quest, you can abuse them in a more offensive manner. So the first half of the content you focus on healing, and then you can use the recovery slots to change in the more offensive side of things, which you can do using the rare recruit ulti, which can lock your slots so you can keep them for multiple turns, and then of course you can turn them into Wano slots later. Her superclass ability is also okay. It does give a 10,000 heal, which can enable the captain ability of Yamato, and then also gives you 2 turns of cooldown to herself only. This does make sense because her special gives 2 turns of charge to Psy Striker and Cerebral, allowing you to kind of get around special reverse not only as a crewmate but as a captain as well. She also provides good healing with her special. She removes paralysis with the special. She does give a 1750 base attack boost with her special, but the base attack boost is a very mediocre buff. It does last for 3 turns, so you can use it before entering a final stage, but like, let's be real here, 1750 base attack as the primary damage dealing effect from a special is pretty bad, so I wouldn't really classify this character as an offensive threat. This is more of a utility focused character. So on top of all of this, you also get a 40% final tap bonus damage. There is another condition attached which does allow you to increase damage taken on the opponent if you have a certain amount of tags present on the team. This effect is pretty redundant, yet not really going to be utilizing it all that much, so I would say you could pretty much ignore that effect on this character altogether. One side effect that I would say that is on the positive side of things for Yamato is that, number 1 is that her superclass ability can be activated as a crewmate, so that's awesome. But also, number 2 is that the of actual condition that you need to fulfill for the superclass to activate is pretty easy to fulfill, as it just requires essentially 2 female One Piece characters, because the pool of characters you have here is substantial. It also does count podcast the ace, so if you end up using an ace character in some fashion, that can also count towards it. So I think that overall, that does make this character relatively easy to use compared to some of the more recent characters that require very strict tags or very specific units. While it does require 2 units, the pool is significant, and also being able to use the ability as a crewmate is a huge positive. Now, this character, in terms of the premium potential ability, she does have Final Tap. The Final Tap, I will say, is pretty shit. It's pretty bad. The effect itself does require you to be at 70% health or above just to activate it, which already does kind of suck. But the effect itself does give you a guaranteed Wano slot through block slots, and then it gives you 2000 base attack. Like, it's one of these Final Taps, the ones that you just do not care about. So you definitely do not feed Final Tap tablets to this character. Definitely conserve them for other characters. Of course, when you use a level 5 Final Tap of Yamato plus her special, you getting like, what, 3,750 base attack for this character. Like, that sounds good on paper, but like, it's not a huge deal. Like, it's really not. In a lot of circumstances, there are better Final Taps you can be using, or, you know, obviously Rush Sugo specials that can perform on the 6th tap are going to be better. Another major issue is the fact that it is a Yamato character, and we actually have a lot of good Yamatos in Treasure Cruise, so I don't really know like what kind of situations you're going to find yourself in where this is going to be the go-to Yamato, like, against a piece of content, unless if specifically you need a captain ability to get around, special bind, and attack down. I just don't think there's really much use for a character such as this. I mean, the healing from the special could definitely have its uses. It does remove, you know, the 6 turns of paralysis, I suppose. Otama, I guess, is cool being a part of this unit as well, which means you do have a wider pool of supports to use, but Otama doesn't have a ton of characters that could actually attach to her. If anything, it might be even a net negative, because it means you can't use Otama supports on the rest of your team if this character is actually in the squad. So this character does have a support effect that's kind of interesting, attaching to any Sai striker, and it says it changes striker characters' recovery slots into Wano at the start of Battle 3. So there could be some very interesting circumstances where if you can try and, you know, maneuver a way to generate some recovery slots on stage 2, or if you have a character like with a switch ability that could generate some recovery slots and then move into stage 3, you could just go ahead and change all of your striker recovery slots into Wano instead, which of course, Wano being super powerful, unable to be manipulated, I think that has some really interesting use cases, but I think that it's a little too niche. Like, you're not going to find too many circumstances where that effect is going to be that useful. So again, it's just a regular end of month character that came out a couple months back. I don't think this is going to be a real game changer for a lot of people out there, but hey, if you do end up pulling this unit, yeah, there's some interesting things you can do with it, but it's not going to be like a real needle move on your account. It's not going to be the main reason your account becomes amazing. Like, I'll just say that. We'll have a look and see. Maybe we might use this character in PvP, but this is probably going to be a character that is going to be collecting some dust in your account, which is unfortunate. But if you guys have pulled this unit, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions about this, and I'd love to hear any interesting strategies that you've used with this character, because at the moment, I don't see too many circumstances where this character is going to be ultra useful. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.